Hello there, survivors, and welcome back to another stream here in ARK Survival Ascended. Today, we're working on a new project that I started yesterday when these brand new Gothic craft structure skins released. And yeah, I quite like them. I've done a bit of building already. As you can see by this little street that has kind of popped up here. So I'm on Ragnarok. I decided not to go for Lost Colony just because I didn't really want to build in the snow necessarily. But yeah, these structures so far look very, very cool. I very much enjoy all of the little details that they have and the little bits that pop out like this. Such cool Gothic vibes. This is really what I wanted when we were on Lost Colony. Like, this is perfect for that kind of theme of the map, and it's what I had in mind for the structure set. Of course, we got more Gothic tech from the official skins, but this is some proper Gothic building that you can do here. And so far, I think this structure set looks really, really nice. It's got some really nice different sets in it, and most of all, just some really cool little details like these pieces, the gargoyles everywhere, the nice iron gates, the little bits that you can add to the side of your building as well to add some details are very nice. You have a lot of these dormer windows and different options for those so that you can really go all out with your builds, and you've got some nice spires to put on top of your builds to get those steeper roofs than what we can possibly do in ARK ourselves. So definitely some really cool stuff. So first of all, we'll take a little look around of what I've been up to so far and what I've managed to build. Well, starting like yesterday, because they only released yesterday. Yeah, then we're gonna do some building today. I think we're gonna do some kind of like manor build as a cool Gothic base, and we'll see how far we get and where that takes us, and what kind of cool things we'll manage to build in today's stream. But hello there, everyone. Welcome in. Glad to see you all here, and yeah. Let's take a quick look. So this is what I've been up to. So obviously this is all still quite new since, well, it released yesterday. It's not been out for that long. I didn't have any early access to this one. So I've quickly started playing around with it, trying to kind of figure out, you know, all the available pieces and all the options. And I think there's definitely quite a lot. So this was actually the first building that I did. I really like the way that this turned out with the cool arches, the windows and everything, the shapes, but also the gargoyles that you could add. Just all the little details. Had a lot of fun playing around with those, trying to get this front to look exactly like I wanted to. And then yeah, work slowly on the sides. There's also some really nice skins for the large walls that give you these supports, which are definitely a life hack. They look amazing, and it's such an easy addition. You don't have to do anything for it, but it adds a lot of character and definitely gets that Gothic feel going right away. Yeah, this is the new Aaron Longstaff mod. Yeah, it's quite good. It's quite nice so far. I'm definitely quite happy with it. So yeah, this is the first building that I did, and yeah, I got to grips with all the options this skin offers, etc. And yeah, in general, very happy with the way that turned out. I think it looks pretty nice. And then I built some other buildings. I built this little like gatehouse basically to come into my little street. So we have a little building to the side here with another little tower and the different roof options. We got some of the village structures here as well. You can see that nice dirty grimy looking things, and then we have a proper little gate here. It's a little bit of raised up building so that we have a raised up entrance there, and then we have the entrance to the tower right next door. Looks quite cool in my opinion, and yeah, just gives you a few layers to work with basically. And yeah, you can see all the little details around the build. So this is kind of just a way in to this little street that I've created so far. And then the latest addition is what I did basically this afternoon. This little building here. Just another little Gothic house along this side street. There's some interesting looking windows here just to add some details. And yeah, little sidewalk. So I'm planning on building like a proper medieval town or city here. So this is going to be a long-term project where I'm going to do some like proper city building, because I've not done that in a while. I kind of miss it. So I figured I'd start fresh, because there's a lot of new techniques I've learned over the last months, year, and whatever. So I just wanted to be more structured, more organized. One of the things is that I've used a little trick to get 2 foundation heights, so that we have like the main street and then the little sidewalks and stuff, which just really helps separate things and make it look quite nice. Then of course the big wyvern statue is not actually from this new mod, it's from Castlecraft, of course. But I just wanted a nice big statue. This mod does also have statues like these ones over here, looking quite good, and these pedestals are actually separate, so you can change those. And I made some little water features here. This is also the water, and the waterfalls and the fountains are not part of the Gothic craft, but I just wanted a little feature. And this is the building we're going to work on today. As you can see, I've got some big plans here for the mansion. Unfortunately, the landscape had other plans, but I can't be bothered raising it even more, so I'm just not going to pay attention to the fact that one corner is going to be in the ground. We're just going to be okay with that. We're going to just ignore the fact, because otherwise I have to raise it up even more. And I don't know. I don't think that I want to do that. So we'll just keep it like that. But yeah, got some nice looking buildings to start with. You can see a lot of the features here. For example, these like steeper pieces that you can put on the top of your buildings to really get that nice steep feeling that a lot of the Gothic structures have. But also these little things, lots of nice details, lots of lovely gargoyles and little fire features to add some life to it. But even these railings for the top, these spiky bits, are amazing, especially since there's one variant where it slightly sticks out, so you can have a nice one to have at the end. And yeah, there's just a lot of these really nice little details, as you can see, to bring a lot of character to the build, which I've definitely enjoyed. So yeah, there we go. A couple of wyverns sitting in the front would be really amazing. Yeah, just have all the dragons, all the wyverns around the base for sure. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. So let's take a little bit of a closer look before we get into building. Let's actually start with some of these side buildings here. Quite like the way that these turned out. So yeah, I decided to make like a little, I don't know what this is, like a marketplace or just some storage. So I added a bunch of decorating just to bring a little bit of life and character to this city street. But yeah, I quite like it. Little tower attached to the building. I tried to do something different here on the end, because a lot of the Gothic buildings have like the big stone wall, and then the roof is kind of wedged between that. So kind of decided to do that with these battlements pieces, and then these end pieces are just a bigger version of a slab wall, which is definitely quite nice. And as you can see, some lovely details on there, which are quite cool to work with. And yeah, kind of just decided to go for something a little bit different. We also have a nice little window here coming out from the building to give it a little bit more depth. And that also really helps, of course, when you're walking around the city here. These big windows are awesome. So these are most of these big windows are all like dino gates, and you can skin them to look like windows, which is perfect. Because, well, it saves a lot of structure, so you get really cool looking windows, and there's a lot of variants for them too. And then you can see all the dormers. There's actually a surprising amount of different dormers designs as well, so there's a lot of things you can go through and pick from and kind of just get as lot of, well, as much detail as you want, because there's so much that it offers, which is really, really nice. And then yeah, I quite like these little sidewalks. Got a little cart here, which is just from the Western Deco, but still works. It still works so perfectly every time. And then we have the little gate here at the end of the street, so that I didn't have to continue to build. So this is kind of be the end of the town that I'm working on, at least for here. And then we have entrance here to the tower. Well, there's no real interior that I did here yet, but quite a simple little tower build, but it looks just really nice with these cosmetics. And then as I said, this is just a large wall with a nice trim skin on it, and there's some really nice options for those. And then we can see the gate here between the building and the tower. Just yeah, just a simple little build, but yeah, as I said, I love some of the details. So this actually underneath the window is just a beam, which you can make look like these little supports, these little like railings around the windows, which is really nice. And then these steep things is just on an artifact pedestal, which is really good as well. Like you can really easily add those on top of your builds. So yeah, you get some really cool effects. And then here you can see some of the big windows. They have some really awesome details that you can add in them, as like these spikes and stuff. And yeah, there's just a lot of versions, a lot of variations. And then even if we go underneath this, you can see that there's ceiling versions with all these big supports, so you can some really nice looking things with just a few structures. It's not a lot of work. It's surprisingly easy to get these really cool Gothic feeling arches, which really transform you right away into the proper building style. This is really what I wish the Lost Colony structure set would have been anywhere close to. Like this is really some proper Gothic vibes. Hello there, hello there. Welcome in, welcome in. Oh, you started playing on the server. Well, welcome, welcome. So yeah, this is definitely the build I've ooh, why am I getting stuck? This is definitely the build I've been working most on. This was the build where I tried out all of the skins, but I'm really happy with that first result. The big arches and all the little details and everything just think come together quite nicely. The windows, the little things like that just add so much life to the place. And I actually did a little bit of decorating inside. Well, I started a little bit of decorating inside. I didn't really finish it, but again, can get a little bit of an idea of different textures. You can see different floors, the different options that are available. This is another statue option that we have, and you can see that added curtains to the inside as well. Really, really nice. There's actually curtains that shape to these big windows that fit on the dino gates, which is really cool, because it adds a lot of like nice character into it. And then, oh, for some reason, not all of these are changed to the right version. Let's just fix that real quick, because that's gonna annoy me. There we go. So yeah, I used the tables and the chairs from the Australia's Cosmetic just quickly because I needed something. And I don't think there's any chairs or tables in this cosmetic just yet. Well, there's tables, but tables turn into the pedestal-like things, so they didn't really want to use that. But yeah, kind of like a dining hall this is gonna be eventually. But as I said, I didn't really do a lot of interior, mostly just playing around with these different floors and textures. And then I used some of the Castlecraft structures here, more Castlecraft there, and then Australia's grill, just to get a little bit of an idea of what it could look like. But yeah, I did kind of make the inside structure, at least. Like you can see the staircase and everything are in place. And yeah, I definitely think you could do some really cool builds with this. Like if you build your whole base, you could really make quite a cozy looking thing, because there is also a lot of interior floor options. As you can see, this nice carpet is a great option, and looks quite nice. We have more of those big curtains, and I think there's also smaller curtains that I could add to these. So there's a lot of options a lot of options to yeah, to just make really cool, proper Gothic feeling builds, which is very exciting. This is definitely something that is very welcome. I think you're going to be able to do some amazing builds with this. Of course, would have been very cool to have this on Lost Colony with all the Gothic vibes, but I think on any map, if you like the more medieval style builds, you're gonna really love this one, because this one has some amazing options to decorate your builds with. Did someone build this? Yes, I built this. So yeah, that's what I've been up to so far. So that's the little like start of this little town, because for some reason I saw these structures and I just went crazy. I built the first building and I couldn't stop. I just wanted to dedicate instantly to being like, no, this is going to be a whole town. So I do have some future plans, like, you know, building like a cathedral somewhere, maybe a little castle up on those mountains eventually, but also just a lot of town buildings and just a proper little town feeling place. So yeah, I'm gonna do a bunch of builds. I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna do that with videos, if they're gonna be like a lot of Gothic tutorials, or if I'll just do a lot of streaming for the building, so that if you want to build it yourself, you can just watch the stream back or something like that. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but yeah, I just want to do some like proper city town building. I think that's just something that I really want to do, and so that's what I'm gonna do. I just need a little bit of a passion project, basically. So just, you know, you can tell me if you're getting sick of the Gothic builds at some point, but yeah, I think I'm gonna do a little a little more work on this. This is not on my community server now. No, this is on my private server, because if I would do all of this, especially once the town keeps growing on the community server, it probably would start crashing some console players at some point, which I prefer not to do. So yeah, today I have a plan here for a like big manor mansion type of build. So basically this big square is going to be the courtyard on the inside. There's going to be like a passageway through to the courtyard here, and then basically the building is mirrored on both sides. So we have nice big building here, nice big building on the other side, and then of course the connecting builds on both of the sides. And the only disadvantage, of course, is that this kind of slopes into the terrain. But since I'm not gonna bother all of the interiors for all of the builds I'm making here, because, you know, there's way too many that I will eventually have, I'm not too bothered. But if I ever do a tutorial for the whole manor, I'll make sure to build it somewhere where I can build the whole thing, so you can see exactly what it would be like. So this is like 4 wide, and then it goes in by 3. Then it's like, what is this? Like 12. And then we have the same thing over here. I'm not entirely sure how long this side is, but I know that this part here, this is like 6 wide. And then, well, we know this is 12. I think this is about 10, because it's not like a full square. Yeah, that's 10. So the courtyard is 10 by 12, which I guess should be enough to figure out the size. But again, if this ends up being a cool build and you'd like to see a tutorial for it, I'll probably will do a proper like step-by-step tutorial to get this all going. But yeah, I did do a little bit of preparation, because since I'm building like a town on this terrain, of course I needed to check if I can do it. And it's like a mix of like foundations on the one side where we did like meet the ground, and then here we're kind of floating because it didn't meet the ground anymore. So it's a bit different than my normal builds, because I'm trying to all blend it in on a town build, because I just want to do a town for myself, and then if I do tutorials, I'll make sure to do it somewhere where you can just build it as a standalone build too. So yeah, as you can see on my hotbar, there's a few different structure sets here. So you've got like the basic Gothic castle skins, you've got the trim set, then you've got the courtyard stone skins, you've got the Courtyard metal skins, you've got a village skin, and then you've got some decor skins. So yeah, for example, these are the Courtyard stones. They are amazing. They look really, really cool. Love the texture on them. And also the sidewalk is those Courtyard stones, just a different version of it. Then you can see some of those nice railings here. You can see the castle stone a lot in these buildings, of course. And the trim sets, for example, over here. And then we have the village set back there. So they all work very well together. They all definitely have some strong Gothic vibes. And, well, we're gonna work with them a little bit more today. So I think what I want here is basically a nice passageway through from one side to the other. I think I might go for a similar shape to this, because I think that looks quite nice. So I actually don't need these pillars at all. Because I maybe I wanted to do a dino gate, but then again, maybe you want to have bigger creatures go in there. Then something like this would actually make a lot more sense. And I think that's like a large wall basically to start on both sides, size wise. So I think that's what we'll do. And then I think it's like a thin pillar here, and then if I do it correctly, it should be something like this. Yes. And then, so yeah, it's a big one first. So I think it's over there, although that looks like it's in the wrong spot. I think it's actually built up like this, and then we can have the normal castle skins on that, and we want to have the trims to get those nice curves. So if I do it correctly, if I change the variance, we can get some nice gargoyles. And then this one, we want to change to the big one. There we go. And then it will actually meet up with the bottom one. And if we want to, we could even add those gargoyles in, which looks quite nice. A monastery with a courtyard in the middle. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of options for this project eventually. But this is going to be, well, it's more manor type of build. Although you could definitely use it as a monastery if you wanted to. All right. What I think I'll do here on the sides is probably get a few of these gateway windows in, because they're just very nice. They are actually really, really nice. Let me just grab the gate like that so I don't have to go into the inventory. And then we can probably have another large wall here and another one there. And that is quite easily, I think, gonna get us a big part at least of this front wall. And we want to use the trim skins on these windows, or the gates, to create the windows. So yeah, there's a lot of versions. Actually better off looking at this side, because you can see the nice details here. The little railing that you can add. You can add the railing and those details. You can add the spikes. You can add the spikes and the details. Then you have just the railing and different spikes, more spikes and the details. The curtains built in, but you can also place them separate. And you've got this version, which blends in perfectly to the existing wall, and it adds these nice supports on the outside, which is definitely what I want to go for. So I think that's what we're going to use. And then for the actual gate, you can also change the style. So there's beautiful stained glass with a few options. But for this one, I think we're going to go just for this look, because this is not like a monastery or a church kind of build, but otherwise, like, the stained glass is definitely a really nice decorative option to use if it fits your purpose. So then I'm gonna at least build up those pillars. There we go, just because I think we'll want them there. And we can build those up with the right skins to make sure They all look right, and I think at least for these, I'm gonna add in these Courtyard stone skins because, well, they just look quite nice, and it sets it apart a little bit from the main building, the main wall. There we go. I'm gonna just do a little bit of this so that we don't have to think about those for a little bit. There we go. So yeah, this is kind of the start for this wall. And you see, it's quite easy to build this wall, but the skins just really help give it a lot of depth, especially with these gateways, of course, really doing a lot. Then I don't know, but I'm gonna at least try to, well, if it lets me, get rid of this thin pillar. There we go. To see what it would look like if I do the pillar, because then it's nicely balanced with the corner. And I think I might like that more. So I think I might go for that instead. Hello, thin pillar. There we go. And then I should be able to bring this all the way down. There's actually some pillars here too. I guess we can just keep those in the same skins. I don't know if we wanted maybe go a different skin, but this feels fine. So yeah, and this archway should be big enough to allow a bunch of different creatures to still kind of pass through. Now, I'm not entirely sure what kind of options there would be here to use. Like if there's any options to make this just stone. Because I know there's all of these roof options, of course. But yeah, I don't think there's necessarily the option to keep that as is. So I don't really know exactly what kind of shape we would build in here, because we can of course, well, build that as a wall, but we would also preferably make it look good as an inside arch. But I'm sure we can figure something out. And just kind of see what we want to go for. So yeah, this would probably be the same kind of vibe. On the other side, the inside wall basically to the courtyard. There we go. I think that looks quite nice. Let's just make sure. I think we can basically do the same thing, to be honest. Just like that. There we go. And there we are. And then the large walls in the corners. Just like that. And then I guess we can also fill in this part so that we basically get the whole archway started at least. And then we can, of course, skin the parts that we've placed down. Just gonna skin those. I'm not sure how much of those will be visible by the end, but just for now, we're gonna make sure that it all looks nice. And there we go. Some nice arches, maybe some little gargoyles there. And then we have the basic shape for the kind of like passageway. But we definitely want to make sure that we can detail it a bit. I think we do probably want a lot of just walls here. Would I just do something like this and have 2 doors on each side? Does that make sense? It might do. I don't know. We're just kind of trying things out, but I do feel like that could be nice, because then we could have a door here and a door over there. And then we could, of course, still think about how we'll kind of shape up the whole thing. But yeah, I think if I add these, that looks quite nice. And we can do the same thing over here on this side, apply all these skins. And then add the little archway in. Of course, we're going to add in like doors and stuff, but for now, we at least kind of get the right vibe from this. So what I'm thinking is, if I start with these, just to still make sure that there's some kind of arch feeling building going on here, I could probably go into those, but that's not gonna work. That's not actually gonna work, is it? There we go. We probably want to do this maybe the other way around. Like we want to add the ceiling in first, or whatever is going to be above this. And then we can maybe build from that ceiling, because now if I do these, that definitely fits inside the shape that we already have. So that definitely works. And then I guess we could still add in these roofs, because then it still kind of feels like a proper like little tunnel archway, right? Like this still feels like it makes sense. And then we just need to figure out what kind of skin we're gonna use, because unfortunately if we use these, it's just gonna be roofs. I don't know if there's any. No, it doesn't look like there's any skin, so it's gonna have to be the stair looking ones first. That would be quite nice. But we can also work in these. Let's see what we like more. I think we like this more, because the other ones are more like the floor stone. This makes more sense to be up here. But let's see what we can turn it into. Okay, so just those. Then I think this is probably the right vibes. And I think I might want to add a pillar here in the middle. Yeah, that feels quite natural. There we go. Yeah, that's not too bad, I don't think. Yeah, I guess that's it. Although what we could do, how did that just ARK sometimes can be so confusing. What I was thinking is we could potentially still add a little bit more shape to the little hallway here by basically having those same pieces here in the middle too. Just like this, so that we kind of repeat the same arch again. There we go. I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that looks quite nice. Kind of keeps that feeling of the arch going all the way through into the courtyard. So yeah, this would allow, you know, your bigger creatures to walk through and get into the rest of the base. So that also means that we probably want to skin these ones into something like this, where you could walk into the courtyard to continue from the kind of main roady vibes. And then I think what I probably want here is something that extends forward a little bit. There we go. Feel like that could be quite nice to make this a little bit more stand out a bit more, basically. There's an option to use these. So that's like a trim skin on the ceiling so that it gets those supports underneath. And there we go. Yeah, I think that looks quite nice. Yeah, that's quite a nicely pronounced entrance like that. And then of course we'll need to work on like a proper little like roof, etc. here. Which I guess would just be something like that. Then I think I want to have some quarter walls, because it would be quite nice to kind of have a central window in here. There we go. We'll add those in, and then that's the kind of shape. And of course, as soon as we start changing it all, it will look a lot nicer. So yeah, we should be able to kind of spruce this up. I think we're gonna do some stained glass here as a little bit of a nice feature up here. I think that looks quite nice. Is that how big that building's gonna be? I think so. Yeah, because the side buildings need to be higher than this build, so I think that's fine. Do I probably just do something like this? I think so. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's gonna look really silly now, but I think like if I would do this kind of roof, we'd be able to do... Nope, I did the exact wrong parts. There we go. Yeah, so we can kind of get a very small little overhang with those pieces, which I think that looks quite nice. Okay. Come on, there we go. So yeah, that would be the roof, and the roof would be 3 high, of course, here. And it also kind of means that we can bring those in. There we go. And then we'll just kind of see what it looks like, and then we'll start, you know, adjusting wherever we think it needs a little bit more. But I think it's going to be a good start of it. We definitely want to have some railings up here. There's some nice details. Potentially, I'd want to have a little bit of something going on top of here. Somehow that doesn't have foundation support. Oh, this doesn't have foundation support. There we go, that might fix it. There we go. And I think this is going to be a pretty decorative bit, so I don't think we'll actually build it into anything. Although this is going to be a little bit tricky because the way we have it now will be hard to connect up to the build. All right, maybe let's just focus on this front before we go too crazy with the roof. Let's skin all of this so we can decide what it looks like, if we like it, if we want to add anything, etc. There we go. Oh yeah, it's gonna help with the street feeling more like a street, for sure. All right, let's change these little guys so that we have that proper little edge around it. There we go, perfect. Then what is next? I think we want to have the trim skins on these, because they look quite nice. That's how you get those nice bits of railing for on top of the roofs. There we go. Awesome, perfect. Yeah, I think that's the kind of vibe I want to go for. And then of course there's the interesting feature that we might want to add in here somewhere. I actually think I want to make this a bit more central. So I think I'm going to add in that as a roof piece, because then if I do this, I'll be able to kind of make that line up with those windows, which I think is definitely going to be the way to go. So if I add these, we'll never know anything. And then we have a nice dormer window lining up with the window below it. This is the Gothic craft structure skins, brand new cosmetic. All right, there we go. So I think if I do that same bit here, oh, that's gonna look a lot nicer. There we go. So yeah, we can change all of these and then add in a nice dormer. And I like those different size dormers, so you can really go all out with the kind of vibe that you're going for. I think maybe having one up there could be nice too. Just a smaller one for sure. Yeah, I think that works. I think that works. So up here, I do kind of want to add a little something in. Is that too big though? That might be too big. What I might have to do is just kind of do something like this. Yeah, I think that we could make that work. So if I do this, so basically make sure that once again we have these roofs set up in a different snap point, basically. There we go. Then we should be able to just skin this as it was, no issues. And then then the big question, of course, is going to be how to make sure that this doesn't get too big. Because yeah, we're going to have the same thing on the other side. So right now it is a 2x1. And I think preferably I need it to be just a 1. Just a 1. It needs to be at the end. So let's see. What would it look like if I do this? But yeah, that wouldn't really help me too much. So maybe not. Actually, what I really need probably is some quarter pieces. Something like that. Then we need a full ceiling. There we go. So that's what I need, because I need this snap point basically. I need that point. But I need that point to look good first. So for example, no, I need something like that. Like a little tower. So yeah, if I flip around those walls, that should be quite a nice look, I think. Oh, what? Why did it delete the message? Well, that should not have been deleted. Why did it delete that? Oh, is it because you said ass? I don't know. I can't restore your message, but I've seen your message, Andy. I don't know why the bot was so aggressive to that. There we go. Something like that could work. And then I guess the real question is there something we can do here? Like, I don't know. Yeah, there's those skins. Does that do anything? I don't know. I mean, I guess that could work. Just like this. And then what we need is this one. So now it's snapped to the pillar underneath. We can't see the pillar anymore, but there is a pillar there. And that's where you can snap these artifact things to, which you can turn into these really nice features for on top of your builds. I just want to see which one we want to go for. This is definitely a nice one. We've got the tower. We've got the tower with all the gargoyles. I wish that we had the steeper one, but with this burning bit of light. I guess we can kind of make that. I definitely feel like it needs that, like, tall tower. This is Gothic Craft. I'm using the variant cycle tool just because it saves me a lot of time, which is another mod. All right, I think if we maybe add these on the corners, we can add a little bit more detail in there, which is something I quite like. And then I guess it's time for the railings to go in. So yeah, there's going to be a half railing at the end. But I think we're getting a pretty nice looking building here, or front of the building at least. There we go. Nope, that's not the one. Yeah, we need these trims. I don't want to look to my buildings because sometimes you can click so far with these skins and you just skin somewhere halfway through the town. And I won't find out until like days later and I'm like, what? Why is the skin changed? Okay, so that's the one we need. There we go. We'll just change all of these to those nice bits. Awesome. Yeah, I think that's gonna get us one step closer for sure. There we go. That's one. Awesome. There we go. So yeah, I think that's gonna be quite a nice front of the building, in my opinion, at least. Yeah, it just makes for a nice, interesting way into the courtyard. And then we're gonna have these two buildings off to the side, basically. Which are actually kind of the main building. Okay, so if I have some large walls there and there, I can probably make some windows in between that. Do I just want to have the window in the middle? I think I do, instead of having it very low. I think I want to go for something like this and then have a beam underneath those. The variant cycle tool. Yeah, if you can install it on your single player on your server, then you can use it. It's just a mod. There we go. Add those in so we can turn them into windows. So yeah, let's skin all of this. Let's focus on one side of the building first, and then these we can turn into a little bit of detail. I think that's going to look quite nice. There we go. Yeah, I think we can make this a 2 wide window. That feels like it makes sense. There we go. That's quite a nice looking window. I think we can do the same thing over here on this side. Add those in. And let's change these into some proper windows. There we go. We can have a nice bit of detailing around the bottom of those. And I guess we also want to make sure that we add those to the top here, so that we can kind of keep this whole thing going. So yeah, I do want to make sure that this roof will be higher than that roof. Just a bit. It doesn't have to be much higher. Just needs to be a little bit higher. Alright, so what I think we'll do is we'll start with skinning those. Although what I might do is similar to what I did for the other buildings. But first, we'll skin all those. We want to have the courtyard skins on these. There we are, all the way across. And all the way up to the top. There we go. All right. So yeah, I do think we'll probably keep this one lower, because then we can make some nice shapes that we did for the other buildings, which I quite like for these Gothic builds. So what I want to do here is, first of all, I want to kind of change this shape a little bit. So I'm going to have these come out here on the front. I'm going to do the same over there. So basically, yeah, we'll have kind of a window coming out a bit more than just the default shape. I think we could still go for these kind of windows, because that would look quite cool maybe. And then of course we can have these as supports just because they look quite cool. In my case, I could go for the big one. I don't know. Kind of depends on how big you build this normally, of course. All right. So I think it makes the most sense to make this one higher so that this window has a bit of space. And I guess I would have to flip these around maybe. There we go. So yeah, we can make this window. And we can pick one of the nice details. Yeah, I think just this kind of works. I guess the easiest way would be to have this for a second. The biggest issue is that those gaps are still there. And I'm not going to be able to change that unless I do that first, I think. So once again, we'll place those down. And now we should not have a visible gap anymore. But we do have a lovely window here. And I think we'll have these. I think that works. Yeah, if we do that, that looks very nice here on the front. Very nice indeed. So yeah, if we do that for both of these, I think we can also just skin the sides there. Okay, if we bring those up, that should also probably help make this look even nicer. We can delete that, and then I guess what we really just want to do is add like a little roof on top of here. And then probably something like this should do the trick. There we are. I mean, that does add a bit more shape here to the front. And then if we start the roofs like this, that should already help give us some more shape, right? There we go. And then we have those again. Yeah, that looks good from the inside. I guess the only downside now is you'd want to have the floor here. If I do that, then I probably don't want to have these. This is going to be a lot easier if it's just these walls. If I have the floor here. And I definitely want to have the floor there, because otherwise there's not a lot of space left. Do I want to have windows here? Probably. Let's see. Could just have some windows like this. Yeah, why not? Keep it simple. Because we already have quite a bit of detail below. So let's see, what would be a nice shape? I guess maybe those would be quite nice. There we are. Yeah, as a whole, I think that looks quite nice for the front of the building. We definitely want to have the little gargoyles on the sides though. And if we really wanted to, of course, we could have the bigger ones. But I think this is more fitting for the sides of the building like this. And let's just see how that translates into the building. So that would be over there. That's kind of fine. That would be another corner. But now the roof is the same height. Is that a bad thing? I don't know. I guess we could make it one higher. It would be kind of nice if it's not the same height. So I think if we make it one higher, would that be good? Yeah, probably. And this shouldn't be too difficult to do. Just means we need to change a bit around these places, but we can do that without too much work. So yeah, basically we just raise this up like that. And then it should be totally fine. There we go. So yeah, now we can just have those supports again. As well as over there. And now we have a lot more space up here too, which is quite nice. Which means potentially we could do something more with the windows now. Like we could have bigger windows up here in this case. And then we can have that. Which also might look very nice. So maybe that is what we want to do maybe. So yeah, something like this. And then of course we want to actually make some nice windows out of these. But the question is, do I go for two of these narrow windows? Or do I go for two of the wider windows? I think it might have to be the wider windows, to be fair. There we go. Yeah, I think that looks quite nice. And it will get some extra light in to the top layers, which is also definitely something we like. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see. We bring this in, and now that will connect up to here, which means I guess this below will just be able to continue again. Because now it's a whole different build, of course. I feel like we could also probably do this for the outside. There we go. Yeah, and of course then this would be ceilings, because there's a floor here. And then that corner piece we'll figure out once we get there. The next layer of the roof would of course connect over here. And then this one should be one higher. There we go. So we can nicely make those meet, and it does stand apart a little bit more than if it were to just blend into the same height roof. There we go. Did it start raining? Yes. Sometimes it's hard to see because it's still quite sunny out. There we go. All right. Let's see what this is actually going to look like. And just get this all nicely skinned up. Yeah, that looks quite nice. I'm not entirely sure about the front of this part. Maybe I just want to go with a normal overhang. Just because that makes it a little bit easier to still get the nice railings on the top. There we go. And then we can bring these all the way over to the front over here. There we are. And we'll have to change a few more variants. There we go. Keep that all going through. Just like this. Over here. And we can just kind of continue down the line, I think. There we go. And with that pokey bit at the front. Yeah, and then if we look at this entrance now, that's definitely starting to look quite nice. I think actually what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do the same kind of window on that front. I think we're going to do something slightly different just to create a bit more variation in the build, which I think would be nice. Actually, maybe what I'll go for here is some thin pillars. Because I think that will look a bit nicer. And I should still be able to skin them from here. There we go. Just looks a little bit nicer on the inside, I think. Yeah, there we go. That looks quite nice. So yeah, in essence, I think the building on the other side is going to be the same, but I don't think all the little details necessarily need to be the same. So it's kind of symmetrical, but not completely symmetrical, which I think would be quite a nice option. So maybe we just have 2 windows like that. Do I want to have these windows? I quite like those. Or do we want to have like one of those different window options? I feel like these are maybe a little bit more suited for a manor. And they blend in a little bit more like it's a normal wall. So yeah, I guess I'll do that. There we go. There we are. And it instantly just adds a bunch of nice details. So yeah, I think this way it adds a bit more interest because it still feels like, you know, it's going to be the same shape and everything, but there's just something new to kind of draw your attention back in to this part rather than just being the exact same thing as we see on the other side, which personally I'm a big fan of. I know some people have to have symmetry no matter what. I think it works quite well without. That's also quite a nice line to bring along. I guess it's going to be a little bit higher along this side. Oh, keep whistling. There we are. So yeah, I think this is basically the start of the next floor again. Well, no, I guess this would be the start of the next floor. And there we go. Give those little gargoyles additions, because we definitely want those. And I think because we have something that sticks out very much there, we have something that sticks out but not as much. We could potentially do that on this layer instead. So we could kind of have the ceiling maybe stick out here on the front. Not entirely sure like how far I would want that to go. Like, do I want a full addition here to the outside, or maybe keep it a little bit simpler? We do have a little bit of space, so potentially having this wouldn't be the worst part. So yeah, there's definitely... Then it kind of needs to be the big one, right? If I do that. And to be fair, that doesn't look too bad. That actually quite works. There we are. Yeah, that's not too bad. Not too bad at all. And then I guess we just get to kind of shape up the rest here. And then we kind of know how big this could get. Because realistically, this we don't want to be too big. Because yeah, that would be the top of the roof. Let's keep that in mind. Maybe let's add this little edge, just so we know how big or where the roof is gonna be. I feel like if I just add those in, it's not too bad. I could make that work, and then maybe we could even do these just to make them stand apart a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, and then on the inside, probably want to go for these. Yeah, we want to have our windows in here. I'm glad you like the videos. Welcome in, Reptile Kingdom. Glad you like them. So yeah, I think we just want to have some nice looking windows here. So maybe something like this. I don't like these thick pillars here. So I think what I might do is, well, use the thin ones instead. I think that might just look a little bit more natural. Do I like that? What I could also try instead is to go for a bit more of a natural vibe in here. So we would basically do something like this instead. Just to bring in a little bit of different online gameplay. Yeah, this is online. Maybe that's actually fine. Yeah, just to bring in some different colors as well. Could be quite good. Hmm. Well, why would you break? Why? Doesn't... Yeah, this is... Well, it's on a server, but it's just me. Alright, let's see. I could also go for these, but that wouldn't be high enough. So if I go for these... Potentially... Oh, perhaps we could do something nice with this. Okay. This might be a bit too much, but we're just trying things. I guess the only advantage of this is that I could have still a little edge there. I can't do it on that side, obviously, but potentially we could have something like this, where we make these a little bit more narrow so they don't stick out as much. Surely I can flip those around, or is there a different version for those? Why can I not? That's weird. I should be able to flip those around. I'm pretty sure that if I do that with these... Yes, I can flip them. So I guess the roof has to be the same color again. Alright. There we go. So now it shouldn't stick out too much, which is definitely nice. And then we could still add some spikes up here. There we go. So that sticks out too. Yeah, I think that's a pretty nice addition. And then I guess we can get started on connecting these roofs on this layer too. There we go. And we can keep this all the way over there. Connect these roofs up. Awesome. And of course, add the skin all over the roof here. And we can do that on this side too. We can of course add in our railing on the top. There we go. The final one. And then we should be getting close to have a proper look of the front of our building. It's quite a big one. You know, we're building a proper manor, but you know, it's going to be a fun addition that's going to help fill up my little town to be. There we go. And this should actually be quite a practical base by the end of it too, I think, size-wise. There we go. So yeah, we get that poking out too. And I guess that means we also potentially get to play around with a few of these. It almost feels a bit unnatural to have that here. But it is also quite nice. So maybe like this? Just to add a bit of interest on these sides. And then I guess what we could do is make sure that those do feel more supported. Or what we could also do instead is something like this, because I think, yeah, that does kind of come forward. It does kind of poke through, doesn't it? I thought we could maybe use that as a little bit of a support, but I mean, it's not too bad. How much do you see it? Well, yeah, you definitely will still notice it, but it could be a nice way to add a bit of support. Let's see what it looks like if I finish the rest of that. I'm not quite sure what kind of floor there would be here. Preferably some stone, I think. At least from the outside perspective. There we go. And then we could have those little things. It does look quite nice because it adds an extra layer in there. So maybe we'll do that. We just get a little bit of 3D supports here. There we go. Did I add the gargoyles? No, I don't think I need the gargoyles here. And then we can have those nice supports. There we go. That feels like quite a nice detailed entrance. Yeah, look at that. That's a proper manor waiting for us. Very nice. So yeah, that's going to be like the the front of the building, just the main entrance of it. But I do like this with all those different roof pieces and stuff. Yeah. This does feel very cool indeed. And then you've got the whole courtyard for your creatures and stuff. And we got the whole rest of the building for a lot of things. So I guess we can kind of start sketching out the rest. At least for some of this, we know we're just gonna have the same thing on the other side. So I think I'm gonna sketch in those bits a little bit just to make it a little easier for myself. I guess on the opposite side, it really depends, because we could do the same. Well, it's gonna be hard to do the same there, so maybe we'll just do the exact same thing on those sides. And then I guess it really kind of depends. I do like the idea of having those at the end of the hallway. I mean, it's going to be a bit tricky there, but I'm sure I'll figure out a way. Yeah, have those going on there. And I could potentially have 3 along the sides. That kind of solves those issues. And we could have similar things over here. And then one of these could be an actual doorway. Not all of them have to be windows, of course. Like this could be a door. Let's add this skin to it on both sides. And then the rest could be windows. And I think if it goes through here, I might be able to, but then I need to quickly hide so I don't leak my password. Because community servers and everyone's gonna go crazy. So I'm just quickly trying to get these in the right place. There we go. So yeah, now I've got those two. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to place the actual structures in there, but at least we know where they are. And oh, this is going to be a pretty big building. But we're getting to the meat of it now. Kind of feel like designing a bit of the courtyard here, because we kind of have most important decisions made now. So I think if I add these in, that's actually already gonna help a lot of the structure. Oh yeah, these of course. Awesome. So yeah, those are all in place. The sides should be relatively easy. I think if I do this, it's gonna fill in most of that. There we go. And I think above those windows, we should just be able to do that. We can also add those corners in. There we are. And then I guess it's also time to actually fill in all of the doors. Oh yeah, potentially we could have some of these supports or here on the inside, to be fair. Although on the inside it's going to make it very narrow, so maybe I don't want to quite do that. But maybe on the outside wouldn't be too bad. This is the new Gothic craft skins. And all of the variant pieces that we're working with. Alright, and then I think that's just going to be the regular door, because I quite like the look of these doors. And then for now, let's just go around, skin this all with those castle skins. And then we should be able to start really transforming this courtyard. And in some case we still have the actual foundations here as well, which we might as well skin right away. There we go. So yeah, for these windows, for sure, we want to have the version that blends in to the wall. There we go. Awesome. Because that's just going to fill all the gaps that we still have. Awesome. And then one more there. Yeah, that's looking quite nice. Then we have these entrances that potentially I'd want to have some nice torches next to. That looks quite fun. Very nice. And then I'm thinking that I might want to have pillars, just because it makes a little bit more sense, maybe. Because I think that just divides these sections in a nice way. Awesome. There we go. I mean, that's wall-wise, that's already a good start for all of these courtyard walls. Then I guess for a lot of the roof, it's also not necessarily a very difficult job. Kind of depends if we're going to do the same kind of addition here as I have on the outside, but I might. Which also means, well, we'll definitely want to have this addition, to be fair. So we'll see. There we go. Okay, I need to figure out which way the variant goes again, because I keep forgetting. Okay, it goes to the right. Goes to the right. So if I have a few of those, I should be able to cover most of this. And of course, the bigger question is if I'm gonna... Oh, I'm actually gonna be able to do all of this, because... Yeah, we can kind of keep this going all the way through. Although, I guess for this side, actually this building is going to be a lot higher, so it's not actually even needed here. Quite forgot that this technically still has another layer added to it. There we go, because those buildings on the sides are a little bit higher. Awesome. And then we can just add those in. Well, we're definitely gonna want to raise up the pillars in the middle for the very least, but we can add this nice detail for those side buildings. Awesome. Very nice indeed. Yeah. That is looking quite cool. I might want to have a circular... No, because then I can't have the edge. And I think I definitely want that to go all the way through. Alright, so now with these, of course, I can add in that little border at the bottom. Which is definitely something that we... Oh, I went too far. That we want to add in. I made the worst looking roof right now because I still need to add in all the little details. But I promise it's going to be just fine. And it's going to look amazing. Why did I do this there? Is it for like... Oh, no, I know why it is. So I did like a whole different thing with snap points and everything there. What did I do at the very end there? I feel like this is actually maybe going to be a different wall. Which might be worth it. If I just can grab one of these. Add those in. Because I think with this version, there we go, we can make even more details possible. Awesome. No, I guess that's a quarter walls, isn't it? Yeah. And what did I do then? Just some stairs. Makes sense. Oh, I don't know if these have the pieces I need. No, that's why I used the castle skin probably. There we go. And then flip this around. There we are. That's a bit of detail for that part of the roof. And then I guess what we want is we want to have the main roof in there. Oh yeah, there we go. So yeah, this would be where the roof comes back across here. And then we can make more corners work. And of course, I'm just assuming we're gonna keep this same detail because might as well. There we go. Bring this across. Awesome. Yeah, actually, we... Oh, what did I do? Don't want to place it there. We definitely want to bring this out. Does that go any further? That just goes one little extra bit. There we go. Oh yeah, I remember, because we have those supports underneath. And having, of course, those slope walls as well with the trims on them. Did I have the gargoyles on those? I think so, yeah. Of course, we want to have a little bit of extra gargoyles there. I feel like we have these probably. Don't really remember if I did that here. I haven't yet, but I probably want to, because otherwise it's kind of an awkward end to that wall. I kind of feel like potentially I'd want a little bit more detail here. Maybe just something like that. This skin pack with the Elvish one, or the Modern Mansion one. Modern Classical build. Yeah, of course, yeah. Once you start combining skins, you can get some really cool and creative things. But for the time being, I'm very content just to get to know the skin, you know, maybe find some more like hidden bits that I haven't discovered yet, etc. Because yeah, sometimes there's some new surprises that are still waiting for you in a skin to discover. There we go. So yeah, definitely want to have that here again. And then I do think I'll keep that little bit going. And we can skin the entire front. Stained glass in here. Oh, jeez. We went too far. We want a nice round window here. And then I guess all that we need to do is add in the railings. And change them to the right skins. Oh, need one more variant and then flip it around. There we go. Now we should be able to change these roofs as well and make them look as nice as we did on the front of it all. For now, I'm just going to skin these two just because it looks a lot nicer than having the metal float around. It is turning out to be quite a big build, which, I mean, it's kind of what I planned because it's going to be like a big manor, like a proper base type build. And at least so far, I'm quite happy with the little details we've been able to get in here. I'm pretty sure that's where the other ones are, which we definitely want to keep going because I quite like the look of those. And then we just want to skin the rest of this build. Very nice. So yeah, I think I wanted to lower this, but I'm kind of stuck with the landscape. Maybe I'll slightly lower it like I did the... Like this. I could do that. Yeah, we could definitely have a ball in this banner. There we go. Just looking at it from street level might be nice too. Yeah. This is definitely starting to feel more like a street now, because now I've got a building on the opposite side. Now this is starting to feel more like a proper square instead of like a random extra bit. Yeah, this is looking very nice. Definitely like I wanted to. Get a proper bit of manor going. How long have we been going? Oh, geez, almost 2 hours. Yeah, this has been a pretty big one. Forgot to give myself a drink today for stream, so that's gonna not be great for me. But that's fine. Yeah, let's add these arches in just for the feeling. And then I guess... yeah, a lot of these gaps is going to be solved as when I start working on the inside a bit more, of course. I'm just going to bring these over so I can fill in a little bit of this gap along the side here. Just so that we don't have to see all that. I do think I want to have some of those. I also think that here would be a really good opportunity for me to line up those windows with something up here. Okay, so now we need the different snap point. It's always annoying because I feel like these roofs... there we go, that's the snap point I need. These roofs never really want to work with you and give you the right snap point, so you kind of have to go the extra bit. There we go. Because then I could have these right above those windows. I guess actually the best thing to do would be to also change these ceilings so that I have the snap point underneath for the supports too. You'll have to install the mod for this gun. This gun is not part of the base game. You have to install the mod and have it on the server that you play on or in your single player. It's the variant cycle tool. There we go. Yeah, because if I have these, now I should be able to have supports underneath those windows, which is quite nice. And then potentially... oh, I don't know if I want to... because I could do the same as I did on the side of the entrance, but maybe we just keep it a little bit more simple here. There we go. So yeah, potentially, of course, we could have more gargoyles. And I think on the courtyard I might want to. Feels like the kind of place where you would definitely want to show off. I guess maybe we do something like that. Just to show that a bit more. I think that works. Yeah, I think that works. That looks quite nice. I'll probably do the same thing on the other side. And of course, we want to have these little bits on the end. There we go. And over here on the inside, what we definitely want to do is, I think it's on the canvas. I might do it here. Yeah, we should be able to add in some of these banners, but them lining them up is quite tricky. I think what I need to do is probably just remove these skins for a moment so I can use that as a guide for where to line up those things. So yeah, we can have one there, here, one over there. There we go. I guess the problem is that if I line them up with the structure, it's not lined up between these because we get a little bit of extra space with the gate windows that we're using. So I guess we want to have it slightly closer to the gate than to the middle. So maybe something like this. Almost. Pretty close. Yeah, I think that's not too bad. Okay, well that means I can take that, place that here. There we go. Pretty nice. Then I want to do the same thing over here and over there. Yeah, I think that looks quite good. We got some of these nice banners. Oh no, I don't want to use their skin. I want to just use the normal one. There we go. And maybe I don't want to have the big banner everywhere. Oh, I actually like this one more because it's got some slight curves and stuff in it. I guess these are going to be the small ones. There we go. That helps fill up these walls for sure. Yeah, and I'm gonna just repeat that process on the other side. I'm not gonna do that for now because there's gonna be a lot of time doing the same thing. It's not necessarily the most interesting. So let's raise up this roof so that we can kind of see what the whole inside of this courtyard is gonna look like. Because I definitely might wanna do I want to have another little tower? I don't know. Because the more I add it, the less special that tower is going to be. There we go. So yeah, something like this could be beneficial, I think. And then I do think we could even play around with adding another one. Oh, in here. There we go. Yeah, because if I do this and I change all these, of course, now we have centered that middle one, which means I could potentially have a big window there. Just to break up those, well, those roofs, basically. I really like the dormers. I wish more roof types had these dormer roofs. Because, I mean, Steampunk has them in vanilla. It would be nice if more of the future skins that we get from Wildcard will have this same feature. Because it's a really cool feature. It's just a nice way to add some detail to your roofs. Which is a lot smaller than if you have to build them yourselves. So yeah, I think that looks quite nice. And then we have, of course, have those spiky bits going all across the very top. Yeah, there we go. Just like this, from one side to the other. Just like that. And we'll just keep going all the way. Just a bit more. There we go. So yeah, that's basically what we're gonna get. I mean, potentially, I guess we could have like a tower somewhere, but I mean, here it's not even gonna really work with the landscape because I don't think those are destructible rocks. I think that's just the landscape, so that's not gonna work on that side. I guess on this side we could potentially add something, but I don't want to go too crazy because I think once we finish the whole manor, it's already going to be pretty big. But yeah, the courtyard's going to be quite nice. So basically what I did for these street levels is, well, raising and down, well, basically raising the foundations to different levels and using those snap points. I've made a little template of that, which is probably, I don't necessarily like templates a lot, but this is one of the more useful templates because then I don't have to do it all over again. I've called it a foundation layer just so that it's at the top of my list, and as you can see, it's just two foundations that are slightly offset in layers so that I could do some interesting things like here. And I think I'm going to place that here just to see if I can get the courtyard on this slightly lowered foundation and still be above the ground, because this hill is in here a little bit. And I think that's gonna work. So it's just slightly lower. It's not of like a normal full it's not like this, because that's a way bigger gap. It's a way smaller one. Okay, I'm gonna have to use ceilings because of the landscape again. But that's fine, and I think it's also getting later in the game because I feel like the sun is setting slowly. And that means I'm gonna use a bunch of pillars to get support again. Hello there, welcome in, welcome in. No, mine's definitely also grey. Might just be the sunlight because it's like setting. There we go. We'll build this courtyard. So yeah, you can see clearly here. that it's like slightly lower than what your normal distance would be, which is a really neat little trick. I might upload this template for people that want to play around with it. I don't know, there might be already more templates like that, but it's definitely a useful one to have if you want to do like city building with these different layers. There we go. So yeah, the courtyard then would be just slightly lower than the rest of the build, which I think just gives us a few opportunities for some nice details. I think so. I'm just going to add these ceilings to hide those gaps, and then we're going to use these castle or the courtyard stone skins to just get that little edge all along the building. There we go. And then obviously I'd like to have some stairs here, even though it's like the tiniest little gap. So this is definitely not possible on official, because as you can see, I'm now overlapping things. I guess you could do it without the stairs, because then it wouldn't be any overlapping. But then you just have to have a wall, I guess, and just walk up, jump up. I don't know if you can walk up without anything. But yeah, this means we can continue our cobbled streets, which look absolutely amazing. And normally, if you're using this build in the playthrough, I would use this courtyard, of course, for your creatures, so you could have, you know, your breeding and stuff going on in this courtyard. But for me, I think we're just gonna have some fun here with some cool decorations. Maybe make like a little fountain, or use one of the skins for fountains in the middle. Yeah, get going like that. But first, I think at least we need to divide this off in these sections. Hello? Will you please let me skin this? Please? Hello? Can I can place things. Why can I not? Oh, there we go. Now it works. So yeah, there we go. We have a nice big courtyard. Definitely want to have some cool feature here in the middle. That's for sure. And then we have those four corners to kind of do some nice little garden bits and stuff, I think. I think that would be quite nice. We have plenty of options probably to make this look nice and get some cool vibes going. We could even use the deluxe dream house for some nice hedges and stuff, which would definitely be fitting place for it. I do quite like the feeling already from this courtyard too. I don't think there's any skins for the utilities yet. At least I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no. There's no utilities yet. Could be. Definitely would be nice. And knowing Aaron, he'd probably add it. This is definitely ARK. I can find a dinosaur for you if you want. There we go. They're all off here. On the edge, because I've banished them for my town. There's a heavy turret skin. Is that in the Gothic craft? But yeah, the street is looking nice. Now with the manor looking pretty complete from the front at least. Definitely need to fill that in. Okay, let's finish up this area. I'm gonna avoid doing a lot of repetition because that's not really interesting to look at. So we'll focus on some new parts of the build we still need to figure out. I guess what we could figure out is the outside of this long hallway. Yeah. Because that's kind of what we want to do so that we have all of these sections looking as nice as they can be. Yeah, I guess those would be raised up one higher. And we could have another one right over here. And that one is going to be different. Oh yeah, but that's a different cosmetic. That's the Klinger's Castle cosmetic. These ones. So this is a few different cosmetics together. So the statue here, that is Gothic craft. This water here is using the crystal cosmetic, but you can also use wild water, which is a free one. Then this one, the waterfall and the fountain are from the waterfall and fountain catalog, or it could also be the fountain and waterfall, like the other way around. Catalog, which is a really nice one for adding like these little water features to your base. And I just decided to have a little bit of fun with it in front here as decorations, because I haven't really played around with them yet. And I don't know what it was about the Gothic crafts structures that instantly inspired me to go all out with like town building. Oh yeah, well it's got those nice features. So yeah, you can get some nice waterfall and fountains going with that. I think I'm gonna just add a little railing around the edges here too, to avoid falling into the waterfalls. There we go. Oh yeah, but yeah, they're definitely similar vibes. You can definitely blend some of those things together. So yeah, let's see a little bit about what we could do with the outside walls on the opposite side of the building. Obviously, a lot of the pieces we could kind of just mirror, like that window is obviously going to be the same. Then a lot of these can just be large walls because we already have the big windows in between each time. And then the last corner bit I'm going to have to leave out, but that's probably just going to be the same as here. Which also means I can kind of just build this all the way across. Because those big windows are going to do a lot of the heavy lifting here for sure. And then up here we want to flip them around for that little top border. There we go. Yeah, I might have to change the time of day so we're not looking into the sun all the time and we just have some nice sunlight again on this side. Oh yeah, the elven skins also definitely one of my favorites. I really loved working with those and went quite crazy for that launch build. Okay, so I think if I have all of this, what I really want is to fill in some of the gates, or actually all of the gates. And I'm thinking that I might also make this an entrance, just so that there's also a side entrance to this whole build, which means that I can change these into those to kind of match that vibe. And pretty sure that all of these are just going to be windows. There we go. And that, of course, means that I can start transforming these walls. All the way down. Yes, like this. All right, let's go. Let's change the top edge here. Oh, went a bit too far there. But yeah, we can add this nice little top edge. Just looks a lot nicer. I think we can get this big window in here too. There we go. Also means... Why is this? Oh, it is. I just didn't see it. Let's change those so we have those nice window features. Yeah, I think we're gonna all keep the same windows because this type of window fits this build the best, and it just blends in with the walls a little bit easier. We don't have to do any work for it. There we go. Awesome. And then I guess we just need these ones so we can blend in that entrance. There we go. Yeah, that's looking quite good. So actually not a very difficult decision to be made here for the sides. It's just kind of going along with what we've created. Those windows are doing a lot of the heavy lifting here, of course, but it would be a shame not to utilize their strengths if we have them anyway. There we go. Actually, well, for the consistencies here on the outside, I might actually want to add in some walls just so that we actually have that 3D layer here on the outside. There we go. So yeah, it's not the most interesting wall, but to be fair, we could add a little bit of extra interest to it by adding a few of these supports in. Which definitely do the trick. I could even turn them a bit bigger. Although that would poke into the inside. And there's even another bigger one, but that's way too big. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to do it with the small one, because otherwise it will poke into my building, which is not really what I want. So I'll just have to work around the edges here, because of course this is still floating. But I can probably lay down a little side street here, since I'm gonna have an entrance here anyway. Gonna have to do... Oops, that's a tree. Gonna have to do something there anyway now. All right, let's bring out the roof, because, well, that's definitely gonna have to go along the edges here. Yeah, I guess we might want to create a little bit of interest here with the roof at some point, because otherwise it's going to be a bit bland. So maybe what we do is if we add these big supports, I could add a little addition here. If this is going to be a side entrance, we might as well make it look a little bit nicer. Playing around with some of the details. There we go. Actually, I could actually do those corners too. There we are. Hello there, Mikey. Welcome in, welcome in. Do a tall one. Tall one, one top of... One tall one. On top of a normal one when you use the trim set on a tall wall. You mean these? These pieces? Because I found those. I found those. There's this more hidden. Because, yeah, I definitely do like that. I can't wait to build like a cathedral again, which is not something I thought I would say after building my last cathedral in this colony, but yeah, I'm gonna have to do cathedrals somewhere. I mean, I've only had the skin for a little bit and I've already started a whole town. Like, this is a little over 24 hours. Yes, but if you add a tall wall below the tall wall, with that set, you get a bigger set. Yeah, I know the bigger ones, but I can't do that here because it will poke into my my next layer, I think. Oh no, maybe it doesn't. It actually doesn't quite do that. Because they already have walls underneath them, so... Oh no, yeah, it does poke in it. It does poke it. That's why I didn't do it. That's why I kept the small one. Because it's gonna poke through. Alright, let's skin all of these. There we go. So yeah, for this part, I think we want to basically make this a bit more interesting by breaking up these roof parts a little bit. And it's raining. It does fit the vibes, but I'd rather not. The brass setting and the weathered stone setting. I don't know if I found those. I've not really gone into the menus yet, so if it's in the menus, then probably not. I've been building too eagerly, too greedily to go into the menus yet. All right. The weathered look. Is it any railings? Material. But this is just weather. Oh, brass. Oh, there you go. Oh, now we're talking. So I can make my roof more fancy. Iron or brass? Oh, that's cool. Weathered stone. Oh. Oh, there we go. Wait. So if I do it here. Weathered. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. That's a whole new... Oh, jeez. Oh, no. I already lost my mind to this skin by going crazy with building. Now it's going to be even more insane. I'm going to have to check everything. Oh no, this just... Okay. Phew. Not everything. Okay, good. That's slightly less confusing, but now I'm going to have to at least check So I guess it's mostly the castle bits. Oh boy. It's gonna be a lot of Gothic builds. Even more than I thought. There we go. Yeah, that just breaks up the roof a little bit here. Let's just build it up to there for now. Use the garden set. Is there a garden set? Which one do you mean by the garden set? Do you mean the courtyard stones, or do you mean the metal? Yeah, I've used this on foundations. Oh, the metal. Yeah, I've used that here as well a little bit to create those grates, if that's what you mean. And I'm guessing that might have... Yeah, that might have... Ooh, that's got the little details as well. That's cool. That is cool. I also like these, the little fancy stones. Yeah, loads more building needed. It's gonna be whole town. Maybe it will even turn into a city. Who knows? Do I just keep this site normal? Do I kind of extend that? What we have over there? I could do that, to be fair. Just to kind of keep the shape coming through, I suppose. Just as a bit of another addition, even though we do have a lot of the cool dormers, of course, so we can blend those in too. But it's a long roof on this side, so I think this makes sense to use. There we go. All right, now we can skin again. And then we get to play around with the dormers, etc. Okay. Bring this across all the way. There we go. Awesome. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that over here I've got one of those big ones, and then I've got like a small one over there. Which kind of makes me feel that I need a smaller one there as well. I don't know if I want a bigger one there because it doesn't line up with those windows down below. So I might keep that out and just have another smaller one here. Yeah, I think that works. And then we want to have... Oh, jeez. Keep going too far. There we go. Awesome. Now we just need to add the windows in so we can get the stained glass again. Yep, there we are. Stained glass here. And stained glass over there. I guess we definitely also want to make sure we add those supports. I think we want to add the supports here too. What exactly did I do? Oh, this is where I did those window tricks. Yes. So I might have to do at least the window trick over there. And then create some nice supports to the side. There we go. And then... perfect. Alright. So, let's... oh, geez. Don't destroy it all, please. Don't destroy it all. Okay, we can have supports for these. Definitely want to have the gargoyles here. Means we can add those in, and it kind of means just we can add those on the outside as well. Like, we might as well. Oh, I didn't really want to add anything on those. There we go. Yeah. I'm liking the manor coming together. And now afterwards I'm gonna have to check everything I've placed just to see if there's a option to slightly change the texture that's hidden somewhere. Okay, well, get those. Flip those around. Awesome. Yeah, I like the side of that. It's not very difficult, but there's just so many options to help you get a more detailed building, which is really great. So yeah, I think we also had one of these over here. And then, of course, the actual windows, so that it's not just an empty bit. There we go. Looking very nice. Yeah, there we go. Our manor is coming together. Alright, we're getting somewhere. And especially this angle is still great for me. I love this. The little street level view. As well as the courtyard view, to be honest. But that's mostly this corner. And I'm going to have to definitely decorate this courtyard quite nicely. But yeah, I think if I do this on the opposite side and then basically repeat the entrance over here, then we should have a complete building. So basically we have designed the main parts of the building, I'm pretty sure. Except for like some interior bits, of course. Which is fine, because we still have time to do that. I think this is going to be another one of those proper entrances, and I might actually use those. Oh, you can paint the stained glass. That's nice. There we go. Probably create some different rooms here. Okay. Fill up these gaps a bit. Oh, the flags and the sigil. That's pretty cool. I definitely want to check that out. Okay, well that's gonna fill in those little gaps that we still had here on the outside, which were still visible. Let's see, we've got some flags here. I guess it's material. Sigil color, white, black, or gold. Alright. Fabric color, blue. Oh, I like good blue. It's not cyan, but it's fine. The sigil, sword, lion, or the cross. Or just a sword. Oh, the sword looks very cool. What does the lion look like? I mean, the lion's pretty nice too. What other options were there? The metal. Oh yeah, yeah. Make it more fancy. Why not? Yeah. And I'm guessing that the same kind of thing goes here. Lion. And we can make it blue too. There we go. Look at it. We can all customize it. Yeah, that's really nice. That is really, really nice. So does that window. Oh yeah, you can also edit the details of the windows. That's good. Yeah, so there's a whole nother world. Whole nother world. A whole nother world to discover. So yeah, basically I need to copy all my work over. Not sure if I'll do that all now, because that means just doing more of the same of what we've just done. I do like the tower. I might want to add something of a tower somewhere. But I'm not sure where. I guess we're gonna already have a second tower, so maybe I shouldn't. Nah, I probably shouldn't, because then it's gonna be too much, if that's possible, if that's even possible. You know, it seems fine. Plenty of other builds to do. Got a whole mega city now with all these options. Yeah, you have to paint for the color glass. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know if I want to change that now. Yeah, I think this manor is shaping up. That's what I hoped to achieve today. And it definitely helps with getting this town vibe going in here. Because now this square is starting to feel more like a proper square rather than just a weird little foundation spam. Starting to feel like the beginnings of a town. And at some point I definitely want to blend in some other cosmetics as well. Definitely Castlecraft, I think. Some of the, especially the settler tier and stuff, I think can easily be blended in very well. But yeah, these stone textures. I created a little template for myself with like different layers. Just so that I can always get these street layers in, basically. So it's just two foundations that are slightly lowered. Loads of people on my community servers do this as well every time they build cities. So it's like, well, probably about time that I do it if I'm gonna build another town. But yeah, it just makes it very easy to get slightly different layers. And it saves you the trouble of having to do the trick every time. Just this is a bit faster this way. Yeah, liking the vibes that this cosmetic is causing already. And that's after like a day and a little bit. Yeah, I see the Klinger's skins would blend in pretty nicely with these as well. As I said, I've got pretty big plans because I've been wanting to do another like town building project. So over the next few weeks, months, year, who knows, you know, it's gonna probably take a long time as long as I'm interested in working on this. But yeah, we're gonna have like a little town forming around here. I think this potentially could be a location for like a big cathedral. We could have a castle up there on the mountain ridge, and you know, have some pretty cool views from there, and just hopefully also create a bunch of nice street level stuff, because especially this kind of layers where you can just kind of walk around and feel like you're in a proper city. I really want to do that, and I think I've been wanting to do that, but I just didn't take the time for it. And this skin's just really motivated me to go and do that. How do you create those lower street? You know what else? I think I'll upload my my little street template, like the little 2 lowered foundations, because it's just, there's a bunch of ways to like lower foundations into different heights, and once you do that once, you can kind of pick and choose the ones that you like, and I kind of like these height differences, so that's what I've been using, and I've been using a foundation or template foundation ever since, because it's way easier. But I've never really used it in a project yet, because I haven't done a lot of cities or towns that require it. I've been waiting for an opportunity to do it, and this felt like the right one to do so. But yeah, it's a trick, but just saves you some time if you have a template of it, because then you don't have to do the trick every time. I'm not the best at explaining it, but yeah. Oh yeah, there you go. Mikey's told you away. And otherwise, there's plenty of videos that you can find about like lowering foundations to different heights. But yeah, I think that might be it for today's stream. I've really enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed working on this, and I hope you do too, because yeah, if I'm going to be building a town, that means I'm probably going to have to do streams every once in a while to keep this project on the road. So I'll probably make sure that I copy over all the things to both sides, and then once I've done the full build, I make a tutorial for this build, because it feels like that could be a pretty useful base. I don't think it's too crazy on the structure limit if you don't count all the other town builds around, of course, because I can't really measure that now with all these other builds going on. But yeah, this would be a very cool Gothic manor to use as a base. You could use the square for your breeding or keep your tames. And yeah, I think once we do the interior, there'll still be a lot of space on the inside too to use as a proper survival base. So yeah, I think that's going to be one of our projects for the time being, like work on this little medieval Gothic-y town. I'm quite excited for that, playing around with a bunch of different designs. Definitely want to start blending in some different cosmetics, etc. at some point, just for variation's sake as well, if we're doing a lot of buildings. But should be very fun. At least I think it's going to be very fun. Hopefully you'll like that as well, because well, that probably means I'm going to be doing a bunch of builds. I will be doing like a little showcase video of the things that I've got so far, once I finish adding a few more details, I think, to these streets. And then I'll probably do a tutorial for one of or more of these starter buildings, because especially this one, the first one I did, I'm very happy with the way that turned out. I think that's quite a cool build too. Again, oh, this would have been so amazing to have things like this for Lost Colony, because it's the perfect Gothic vibe. It's actually perfect. This is what I wanted when I learned about Lost Colony. This is what I hope the Lost Colony skins would be anywhere close to. And it's very nice to finally be able to go for that full Gothic effect and the full Gothic builds. So yeah, I am definitely gonna enjoy myself doing a few more of these builds. So hopefully you'll be along for the ride, and we'll see what kind of cool things we can come up with. That's going to be it for today's stream. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe or follow wherever you're watching. And I hope to see you again in the next video or the next stream. Plenty of cool videos coming up. Got a few scheduled. I'm trying to get a little bit ahead of my video schedule again. But yeah, plenty of cool builds coming your way. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.